All right, the Destroy Trump media has become totally unhinged over the raid over President Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, with some of them going so far as to question if Donald Trump can take action in Syria as a distraction, like the movie Wag the Dog, even though he had announced it before the raid. Take a look.
The news simply does not come much bigger than this. With President Trump weighing military action against Syria, the FBI takes action against his personal attorney, and President Trump lashes out big time.
I was at Barry Levinson last week. I've been reminded, he's the director of that film where a president in fiction decided to start a little war to cover up for a hanky-panky. I remember Reagan a lot of people thought he started that little action down in Grenada to cover up for Beirut and loss of the Marine lives there.
Right.
It isn't so far-fetched.
We have a temperamentally unfit man who is now having to make decisions on what may be a decision that not only impacts the future of Syria, but the entire region.
The seriousness of the situation within the White House is interesting at this time. If he wants to do a wag the dog in Syria, let us be careful with the timing of this.
He had announced the threat of a potential reaction within 48 hours before that had happened. Joining us now with reaction, NRA TV contributor and former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino, as well as the co-host of the Steele and Unger show, Sirius XM, POTUS. Rick Unger is with us. Obama drew your friend Obama, the one you love so much, Rick. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
You've been a stranger. You've abandoned our program for whatever reason.
I'm back.
No, you've totally abandoned us.
I heard Bongino was here, so I had to come back.
Oh, yeah, of course. You come for Bongino.
Yeah.
But here's the point. Obama drew a red line in the sand, did nothing, and it's only emboldened Assad. Kerry announced to the world he's gotten rid of 100% of his chemical weapon arsenal. Not true.
No, absolutely not true. The red line resolution was supposed to involve the UN and Russia getting those weapons out of there. Clearly, that did not happen. You're right about Kerry. I can't argue with you. And even what President Trump did, which I supported, I will tell you, this last time around. Did you get therapy
since you've been here last? Did you go get help?
Let me get
what
to
has
the
happened
end.
to you?
Well, I just tell the truth. You should know that by now. Even what he did not apparently go far enough. I actually support the president doing something in Syria. We cannot sit by and let Assad do what he did to those poor people in that suburb outside of Damascus. However, all of that is not going to stop media, liberal or otherwise, from seeing a wag the dog scenario. I have a suggestion for the president. The Congress, the Senate, is looking at a new bill that they're going to introduce on Thursday to reset up the war powers. It's a Republican-sponsored bill. If I were the president, if I were the president in this situation, I would discuss this with the Congress.
Let me go to bad idea. He's the commander-in-chief, Dan
And Congress has the power, according to the Constitution, to wage war.
They do, but every president, no president has listened to the War Powers Act. Dan.
They should. You're right.
Sean, the media, you have to understand, and I know you get this, but the audience needs to understand this as well. The media understands and sees everything with regard to their disdain for Trump through the Russian collusion lens. Everything. They've been gaslighting themselves, where they tell a lie over and over confidently, and they isolate themselves from the truth. So what they see here is they see this as a wag the dog effort, despite the obvious fact that Trump has been very harsh on the Russians. You know, he wiped out a bunch of Russian mercenaries over in Syria. He's been basically trying to bankrupt their natural gas market. He just sanctioned 7 Russian oligarchs with direct contact with Putin, Deripaska and Viktor Vekselberg included. I mean, they're just losing their minds, and their disdain for Trump is coloring them to the reality right in front of them. And it's really embarrassing them, not us.
Are you going to defend your liberal friends in the media, Rick, even though you're beginning to see the light a little bit?
You cannot blame them, Sean. It's unrealistic to think that they're not going to notice the possibilities here. This is why.
Didn't Trump announce 24 to 48 hours before we heard about the raid on Michael Cohen's office?
Yeah, but see, that's what's, yes, he did. But look at what he announced the week before that. The week before that, the president says, I'm getting out of Syria. Then a couple of days after that, it's, well, maybe not so soon. And now he's going to send troops in
24 to 48 hours before we ever heard that Michael Cohen. By the way, I wish we'd raid the DOJ and the FBI and grab their computers. Dan Bongino.
Rick, you got the timeline all messed up. You just acknowledged it. What? He said, yes, we may be getting out of Syria. Then the gas attack happened. And then the Cohen raid. It's Rick, listen, I know you're a smart guy.
First the warning, then the Cohen raid.
You've got the whole thing. Yeah, you've got the whole thing mixed up, Rick.
I mean, think so. That's what I just said. He did say that before the gas attack. People like me were going, why are you getting out so soon? And why are you announcing it when you're the one who hates when everybody announces it?
Time out. But a serious question Sean just asked. I'd like the answer to that. Then how come you just call out the media and say, all right, guys, this is obviously not a wag the dog scenario because the timeline does not marry up to that. It makes literally no sense.
I think it's unrealistic to expect that media is not going to see the possibilities here. I want them to do something. If it's the right thing.
It's irrational.
Both of you. Rick Unger, kind of welcome back. You're almost there. We need a little more time away.